So what I want to share with you tonight is this package that I got, and this is my life's work. This is my life's work wrapped up here, and this is the beginning. This is just the first of many to come. But we have to address this first issue, which is student debt. We have to address this first issue, which is student debt. And so what I did is I went a little bit backwards because I'm 36 and I've been a little bit removed from college. But in case you don't know, I speak at colleges all over the country. I've spoken at over 100 colleges, touched a lot over 50,000 students. I have the top TED Talk on how to maximize college with over 350,000 views. So I'm still connected to the young people. And if we actually cut off the bleeding that college can cause, yes, if we can cut off the bleeding that college can cause, that can actually make it easier for us to achieve freedom faster. So this will be the beginning. Then we'll have to address the multi revenue streams, not just relying on one single stream of income. I have a real estate portfolio of 5 homes. Collectively, there are 3, 2, 2, 2, 9. Collectively, there are 11 doors that I own that pay me rent today. There are 11 doors that pay me rent today. Okay. And I want to let you know that I'm not a cash millionaire. I say cash millionaire because there's a lot of, there's different types of millionaires. There's equity millionaires, which a lot of the 11 million Americans that are millionaires, they're home equity millionaires, meaning that their $1 million, they may have a million when it comes to equity in some of their savings, but that equity is tied into their granite countertops. They can't actually access that. It's not liquid. Then there are cash millionaires. These are people who literally just have like $1 million cash. Okay. And then there's other forms of millionaires, which are people who are making $1 million cash every single year. So you want to be very clear about what type of millionaire you actually are. So what I want to share with you is actually this notion of liberation arts. See, I'm not engaged in liberal arts anymore. I'm engaged in liberation arts. Okay. Imagine if you went to college and the goal of your college education was freedom, not just to finish college and get a degree, but it was actually freedom and increasing your degrees of freedom, not getting a college degree, but increasing your degrees of freedom. You would have approached college a lot differently. But that is a rare 4 years of space and time where you actually get to borrow money to have that space and time. When else in your life are you going to be able to have that 4 years of space and time? Right? It's a very powerful space, but not because of what they tell you to do, go to classes and try to get good grades. Your grades don't matter that much, right? I had a strategic 3.3 GPA. I wasn't trying to get a 4.0 in college because if I would have tried to get a 4.0, that would have cut me off from all the other amazing opportunities that I decided to spend my time doing, right? So what I want to share with you tonight in this box is my new book, The Undergrad Railroad. The Undergrad Railroad, how to escape college with less student debt, a higher paying job, and more financial freedom. And this is in this book is everything that college won't teach you. Isn't this cover beautiful? My good friend Royal Jackson designed the cover, and I just can't wait to get this out into the world. And in this book, I discuss the difference between liberal arts education and liberation arts education. See, liberal arts education, it will cost you. Liberal arts education will cost you. Liberation arts education will free you. Liberal arts education will cost you. Liberation arts education will free you. See, Shakespeare ain't gonna help you that much, right? Let's not focus on Shakespeare. Let's talk about how to shape the world, not on Shakespeare, all right? And so this book is out, and right now I have a Kickstarter campaign, and I would like you to participate in the Kickstarter campaign. The goal is to get this book in the hands of 3,000 students. I have 3,000 students who are waiting on this book right now. I went out and found 22 partnering organizations that serve high school seniors and college students, and they have all committed to actually distribute the book to those young people. The reason I did it this way and the reason I'm approaching you, though many of you are not in college, is because many of you had a mentor or a mentee who gave you a book like Rich Dad, Poor Dad or something like that, and it transformed your life. For me, a good friend of mine gave me The Miseducation of the Negro. And when I read that book, it changed my life. But I wouldn't have bought that book on my own. And so I'm doing this Kickstarter campaign for the initial launch of the book to get it in the hands of the students who need it most as we approach this graduation season. This is going to be the best graduation gift in the entire world. This book will set a young person on the path of freedom, and they will get to freedom faster than someone who does not have it. The information that I provide in here, the blueprint, the escape framework, that's what the layout of the book is, the escape framework. First, you have to evaluate, then you have to strategize, then you have to capitalize, then you have to acquire, then you have to prioritize, and then you have to execute. And in each chapter, I go through how to do that. See, I graduated from UCLA in 3 years because I already saw how the game was unfolding. So who said it takes 4 years of graduating from college? In fact, most quote unquote 4 years institutions are now taking students 5 to 6 years to finish. And guess what? The school just gets more revenues, right? And the student still gets the same 10-cent piece of paper. Did you all know that the national graduation rate, the national 6-year graduation rate is only 60%? The national 6-year graduation rate is only 60%. For Hispanic students, that's 54%. For Black students, it's 41%. So we're sending our brightest and best off to school, and guess what? All they're doing is coming back home with nothing to show for it. And so that's why I wrote this book. But the thing about this is that this whole college situation, it's not a black or white thing. You already saw the scandal in the news recently about trying to get admitted to elite colleges or whatnot. This is not a black or white thing. It's only about green for the government and the schools. I've traveled all over the country, and I've come to the conclusion that most of these schools do not care about students whatsoever. All they care about is green. They have lost their moral compass. Now, I've been to schools, the schools that bring me to speak. I know that they are committed and they care about the student success, but a lot of the 4,000 colleges that are out there, literally, they're popping up like liquor stores all over. The colleges out there simply do not care about the students whatsoever. Because once they graduate, you don't have to deal with them. You already got paid, right? So I would love all your support by sharing this message, getting it out to the world, buying a copy for a young person in your life who is a high school senior or somebody who's in college. And the way to do that is to simply go to the undergradrailroad.com. The undergradrailroad.com. Again, this is a campaign to give away. I'm literally trying to give away 3,000 copies of this book right now. This just came in the mail. This is the first box, right? It just came in the mail. I'm trying to give away 3,000 copies to students who are actually waiting on the book at 22 partnering nonprofit organizations that I found who actually serve these young people, right? And so the Kickstarter campaign has started today. The book came just on time, and it's going to run for the next 30 days. The goal of the campaign is $10,000. If I get $10,000, I can distribute these books to all the students who are now waiting on it. And the book is already done. So this is not a Kickstarter campaign to get the cover design. It's not a Kickstarter campaign to buy my time so that I can write. This is not one of those Kickstarter campaigns. This is literally a Kickstarter campaign to get the book distributed and into the hands of the students who need it most. You all know of a book or a piece of advice that you wouldn't have heard on your own, but because it came from somebody that you knew, you respected, that it landed with you differently. This is why I need you to get a copy for that young person in your life, a mentee, a nephew, a niece who's graduating from high school, somebody who you know in college. You can mail it off to them. This is going to be perfect summer reading for them. And once they open it and they see the truth about college in here, it's going to change the way they actually approach that space and time in their life. I'm not saying college is stupid or dumb or not a good investment anymore. It's not for the education. You don't go to college for information anymore. You can get information for free on the internet. You go for the experience and for that 4 years of space and time to grow your capital, which is your personal capital, your intellectual capital, your social capital, and your financial capital. This is what I call liberation arts education, right? This is the type of education that we need. Liberal arts education is not going to do too much for us unless you're trying to be write a play or something like that. Liberal arts education ain't going to do too much for us, right? And while it might have been nice when people had the GI Bill to go just sit in some class and read some poetry and things of that nature, that may have been nice when you had the GI Bill and it was getting paid, and that's when colleges started expanding because there was that money flowing. See, there's always been this relationship between the government and the colleges, right? And now they're trying to get back to those days where instead of the government giving money through the GI Bill, now they're just extracting it from the younger generation. And the younger generation is putting all that debt on their backs, and they're starting their life below, in the negative. You're at 22 and you're starting $100,000 in debt, $50,000 in debt, $30,000 in